Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Today, our product manager, Jayesh, and Niran, me, will be talking about Ask Bob, our new feature that highlights the AI assistant. Working with many companies around the world, we came up with this realization that the customer had a huge demand for making personalized reports. Every company that we work with had different kinds of reports that they required. Some required prevailing wage reports, some required master point reports, some required daily reports, some required access control reports. And they wanted to combine data from different sources together, analyze project health, analyze safety, analyze project risk, compliance, and different aspects of a project. And we finally came up with one single solution that solves all of these problems and gives a customer a seamless access to the data they want and customize it so that they can generate insights within a minute. So I'd like to ask Jay for sharing a little bit about introduction about Bob and also more about the technology aspect of it and the privacy aspect of it.
Hi everyone, I'm Jayesh. I'm a product manager at Kwant. So the idea for Bob came out from the context that as the company grew, we started collecting data on various parameters, location, access control, worker credentials, and so on. So now if a user wants to generate a report using multiple of those parameters, they have to apply multiple filters, move through pages, and so on. So we wanted to create a simple tool that the user can use to generate these kind of reports quickly. Let's say how on a job site you would ask a project manager or a super that, hey, do you know about this? How many workers are on site? Or how many workers are working on third floor right now? Or how many people have gone through the turnstile since morning? So these type of questions which you have to generate reports for, apply filters and look at through the data. We wanted to create a simple tool that how you are asking in natural language to your project manager and safety managers, you can simply go and ask Bob these questions in that exact same language. So consider Bob as your companion on the job site who is going to run these reports for you. In terms of the technology, this entire thing is built upon large language models. So we have an integration with OpenAI. We are also using various of the models like Llama 3.1 using AWS. Bedrock. So we can switch between models depending upon how complexity changes or what kind of customer we are working with. In terms of data and privacy, how we are structured it is that we are trying to keep the entire data towards us. We are not sharing any data aspects like your worker names, credentials, and everything remains with us. We are using OpenAI to help us resolve those queries, translate the natural language questions into code base that we can use to generate these reports. So it's sort of acting as a human computer interface between us and how you naturally want to talk to someone.
That's awesome, Jay. Thanks for sharing that. So, I want to dive slightly deeper into that as well, where we understand that the data that the customer has is very precious and valuable. And there might be proprietary data about, some cost, safety, worker-related data, right? And these customers are not comfortable with sharing the data with other competitors or sharing the data for making our model stronger, right? And so one of the key differences from our product with other products is that Kwant uses proprietary data sets that is collected by Kwant. Our sensors and our software is collecting data in real time from hundreds and thousands of workers that are on a job site across the world. And that's one of the key foundation of why we are so unique, is because we are using our own data to provide the insights. Now we can integrate with other solutions like Procore, Primavera P6, CMIC to make these insights more useful and powerful. But standalone, Kwant can be operated. So there's no need to go deeper into the database of the customer and make this work, right? So what we're seeing here right now, Jay, this is our new dashboard. This is the Workforce OS that was also recently launched. Amazingly great feature that, highlights the project score, customer, and lets you go into deep dive into where those risks are from the number of workers in the company, worker on site, and also ranks all your subcontractors by the three matrices, right? Root cause are three root causes, which is compliance, safety, and productivity. And if you click on any of these, it will actually tell you why King Mechanical or Metropolis has a risk level like that, right? So it's a really, really unique feature that we built around generating insights like fatigue, safety alerts for each of these customers. Now, this report today is on a visual formatting. A lot of our customers ask for us for a unique way to ask this question that it will help them to generate different kinds of reports. So let's start, Jay, with how do you think if they were to use Bob, where does actually a project manager or a super start today?
Yeah, so simply you can access Bob by going to the Bob AI assistant. The idea is simple. Like, let's say you open up Bob, you can simply ask those questions in a natural language format. Like let's say a lot of users approach us that, hey, can you generate this report for us? Or like they're on the job site and they quickly want some data out of it. Well, the common questions would be that I want to know the headcount by each subcontractor today on my job site. I also want to compare it with yesterday. How many of those, like how much consistency do these subcontractors are maintaining and bringing the workers to the job site every day? So you can simply Bob, like how you would ask someone else, like when you're talking. So click on here, ask the question, like tell me the number of workers on site yesterday versus on site today. And then Bob will process a query within let's say 3 to 4 seconds, and it will give you the data. The general data would be in form of a spreadsheet, which you can download. Just a data, depending upon the complexity of the data, can be a simple answer right on the interface, or it can be a spreadsheet. Now, let's say if I download the spreadsheet, click on download, and you can see it's more of a digestible data. You can see how many companies, like name of the company, how many workers they have on site today, and how many workers they had on site yesterday. So a good comparison tool as well.
Yeah, this is amazing. So, a lot of time our customers are looking for indicators when there is a lower headcount from what they had planned in the planned headcount, or from just generally yesterday or last week, where, let's say plumber didn't bring enough workers and the plumbing activity was on a critical path. They now need to know that information at 8 o'clock in the morning so that they can either take proactive actions about mitigating the risk of delays because of lack of workers, right? So this tool, I think, can be very, very valuable to supers on a job site. So can I also go slightly deeper into this about asking other kinds of questions or just around the worker headcount in terms of I only want to know if somebody is bringing less worker compared with yesterday or the week before?
Yeah, so see, the idea is that this tool is built upon as a conversational tool, like how you have a conversation with a human being. It's not that simply you can ask a question and it will forget about what you were talking about, and every time you have to start a new conversation, you can just keep on building upon that conversation, like how you and I are talking about the webinar. So you can just keep on asking that, like, let's say I asked, now I want to know how many companies actually have less workers than yesterday, today at the job site. You can simply ask that question and it will process the query, give you the answer, and simply add. I have two companies that have this headcount compared to yesterday. Again, now you are more interested in which company actually has the highest headcount today on the job site. So same conversation, it knows and it understands the context that you are talking about the headcount. So it will just keep on building upon that context. So you can see like A and C electrical services have the highest headcount on site today. Now, let's say you downloaded the complete list of the companies that have on-site worker today compared with yesterday. You're not interested in every single company. You only want to look at the companies that have a significant drop in headcount compared to yesterday or today. So you can just simply go and frame that question in a way that I want to know the list of the companies, the name of the workers, or the list of the companies that have X% less headcount than yesterday. It can be 50, 60, 100% drop, and so on. So like, let's say for this example, I will use 20%. And I simply go and ask the question. And then Bob will basically process the query and it will give you the number of workers that have 20% less headcount than yesterday. You can download it as a CSV and It'll be a well-formatted CSV. You can see like Metropolis Drywall. They had 2 workers today and they had 3 workers yesterday. So it's just a small data set example, which you can look at multiple contractors, define different criteria that maybe Metropolis, how many workers that Metropolis have on location A yesterday versus location B today, and so on.
This is huge. It'll be really be useful for some of our customers that have, we have companies that are using us on sites that have 200 trade partners on a site. And for them to be able to drill down into each of these trade and look into how their headcount is changing between yesterday and today, or compare with the budgeted workers versus now, I think that's going to be a huge game changer for our customers, actually. That's a very useful information, yeah. And having that in a spreadsheet format, I mean, it's a very big thing because they can use it, they can, format it, they can print it, they can use it in a different ways and present it to their team members. Yeah. So apart from this, Jay, what are the other things that we have heard customer ask us, right? Because we want to just remind everybody that these features were built in collaboration with several partners and customers like of ours. And they have shown a huge interest in using our system to use this feature for the full benefit of their. So what other kinds of questions would they be asking? Can Bob tell me what is the most active location, like around that as well?
Yeah, so one of the important things is like we are very heavily focused into the location awareness aspect. We wanted to integrate that module with Bob. So you can simply go and ask Bob, hey, which is the most active location at my job site today, or how many workers are at my most active location today, so that you can understand if a location falls on a critical path, and you can monitor those locations specifically, or let's say if there is a crane movement on the location, so you can ask about those locations as well. So now let's say I want to know, can you provide me with the list of workers at the most active location today? So you can just simply go. We have some few prompts that are ready over here. You can either select from that, or you can just simply ask the prompt and it will give you the answer. So basically it will go through that data, look at the locations and provide you, okay, these many workers are in the most active location. You can ask which is the most active location, second most active location, and so on. And it's a very simple digestible CSV with the name of the company, name of the worker who are at the most active location right now.
Yeah. So this can be very valuable when somebody is trying to figure out, let's say a muster point or a critical path or a evacuation area. They want to know where is the most active zone. Is somebody stuck in there? That can be very valuable, right? And to also, I think, let the customers know this will also require us to have additional sensors around a job site, because to know the zones, the customer needs to have a few sensors around the job site, right? We call them zone-based data collection or HDR-based data collection.
Yeah, I think one of the use cases that we discussed, like when you were building this feature, was like, let's say, the most immediate sort of action that the user wants to take is, let's say there is an evacuation on the job site, or the cautionary measure that you want to gather your workers at the muster point. Now, let's say the muster point notice went out around 15 minutes ago, and you want to look at who all have arrived at the muster point. You can simply go and ask Bob that how many workers have reached at the muster point. It will help you identify it. It will give you the details of those workers, the names and companies. Now, like let's say I download this data and you can see like these all workers have already arrived at the muster point. So that's a good signal for you. But I think when you're doing this sort of evacuation, the most important aspect is you want to look at who all have not arrived at the muster point. So you can take an action. You can ask Bob, like, can you share the details about the workers that have actually not arrived at the muster point right now? So it will just go through that data. You can ask for the details. It will provide you the contact number. They will provide you the company name, where they were last seen when they were working, if you have deployed multiple sensors across the job site. Or even if you have not, it will provide you like when did they enter the job site using the turnstiles or any other access control method. You can download the CSV and it will give you that data. So like, let's say in this case, Erica Smith, let's say, for example, STQ partners, she was last seen on ground floor zone A and on third floor zone A at around 8 to 5 a.m. today. So you know that this worker is actually at third floor right now, and you can probably send out an alert asking them to come to the muster point immediately.
Yeah. And I think that you can send an alert, you can go and rescue them, you can know where their last seen location was. You can also know who was nearby so that you can ping a couple of people in that area to see if somebody else can actually support that rescue initiative as well. So this is an amazingly valuable tool for safety management. And from a productivity perspective as well, right? This can be very valuable. Like, let's say we have a critical path activity or a critical path company. They need to have the exact number of workers on a job site to deliver these milestones. And we've seen in many examples where concrete is a critical path for 3-4 months because they need to pour out all the levels of concrete, by a certain date. And this can actually also help you to analyze those information about, are these concrete workers working in the right area or not, actually, right? So this combination of worker and location and Bob can simply be a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah, so like one of the iterations that we will be next working on as a phase two from this will be like, let's say now you have identified the workers who are not at the muster point, or let's say you have identified the companies who are not at the location they were supposed to be, like let's say a location that is on your critical path. So you can simply ask Bob, like, hey Bob, can you send out an alert to the project manager of these companies? Or hey Bob, can you send out an alert to these workers asking them to come to the muster point immediately? So this will allow, like right now, Bob is only able to and provide you insights. It will also be able to take actions for you.
That's going to be huge, yeah. So this is the phase one of development, right? And I think that it's such a unique product that our customers are already demanding for this. And we've had a list of customers who are waiting for this right now. We're giving them one by one so we can have a very smooth onboarding process and feedback process as well. So yeah, there's a lot to come, right? Let's go to one more other example, right? A lot of our customers also ask for reports about, who entered through this turnstile, who entered through this gate, or who entered through this Kwant access point. And this can be useful when, let's say, there was a hurricane, or when there was an evacuation, or when there was a vandalism or theft, or when there is a huge amount of choke point or a huge amount of traffic in the area. They want to be able to analyze who is using which access point, right? We've also seen people use this for analyzing, hoists that they require on a job site. So Jay, can we talk a little bit more about that aspect of being able to see which access points the worker are using?
Yes, definitely. So understanding which workers enter through which of your turnstile, like even in future, you will also be able to break down by lanes and so on, so that you can understand and plan your job site better. Maybe you have one turnstile at gate A, two double lane turnstile at gate B, but your gate A is your most used access point. Or let's say you want to identify workers who entered between, let's say, for example, in the morning hours, in the rush hour, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the job site. So you know who entered and maybe they require some orientation and so on. So you can simply ask Bob, like let's say you want to focus on the turnstile aspect of it, let's say. So you can simply ask Bob, can you tell me the name of the workers that entered through the turnstile between, let's say, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And to run through that data, it will check the timestamps for you so that you don't have to go to the insights page, apply filter for the location, and then look at the timestamp and understand that data. It's going to do all that for you. So you can just simply go to those pages, insight pages, and visualize that data. But for running reports, you can quickly run reports with this. You can download the CSV and go through this, and it'll tell you, like, let's say, Trisha, an electrician from King Mechanical Group, crossed the turnstile at around 6:31 a.m. You can see these four workers entered between 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Now, let's say think of this as having more than 1,000 workers coming to your job site daily. So this allows you to break down the data very efficiently. You want to look at gate C3, you want to look at gate B1, and so on. So rather than going through each of those gates separately, you can just ask Bob and it will give you that data in a more digestible format.
Yeah, this is huge because I keep getting this, this vision that how can our customer get the information they need within a few minutes rather than having to go and download a lot of data and like bringing information from there and there. You just ask Bob, and that can solve so much of their time. And imagine they are asking one question, and one question can save them 5 minutes. 10 questions can save them an hour in a day. That's a huge productivity gains for our project managers, supers, and safety managers on projects. Which they can work on high value items like making decisions or spending time with their families actually. So it's a huge thing. Yeah. So you've shown to me that you can go through all these questions, but these questions are also kept in history as a log, where if I want to get the information, I want to get the same information over and over again, like a regular reports, we can use this tool to generate those reports as well. So I don't have to go through the same process. I can make a template and create these reports, right?
Yeah, definitely. So you can go to the history tab where you can actually see all the questions that you have asked. Let's say the first question that we asked was about number of company and the comparison on that. So you can go rename that and say that worker comparison report. Now, every time you come back, you can just simply open that report, search for it, and you can open this report. And let's say now you want to do this exercise again for today. So you can simply say that, hey Bob, can you give me this data for today? Hey Bob, can you give me this data for August 25th, August 27th, and so on. So it will allow you to basically use this, since it's a conversation tool, it remembers our history. You don't have to every time create that historical context again and again. It will remember your prompt, so it can go through that conversation on its own and understand, okay, what are you actually talking about, so that it can give you that report easily. It can become very helpful in cases like, let's say you want to look at muster point data every 2 weeks, or you want to look at turnstile data every 1 week, or active location data. So you can just rename these conversations on on-site report, work location report, and so on, and then come and say that, hey, give it to me for today. Give this data to me for yesterday, and so on.
Yeah, that's huge. It's like having an assistant that never gets annoyed and keeps making reports for you every day. Like that. This could be a huge time saver for field guys who is ultimately going around the job site, taking pictures, making reports, and this could be such a huge time saver. And our job at Quant is to give the time back to our supers and foremen and project managers so they can focus on building and helping them to make better decisions. And what better tool can there be, other than Bob, which is an AI assistant helping you with creating reports on a daily basis and on your demand. So this is huge, Jay. And let's talk more about, compliance. So we've seen that a lot of our customers use us for compliance reporting. We've seen customer use us for prevailing wage reports, like OSHA reports, SST reports, or drug test report or certification reports with is the worker authorized to be in that area, or can the user operate this machine report. Can you tell a little bit more about how Bob can be used to increase compliance on a project?
Yeah, definitely. Depending upon project to project, you are collecting compliance documents with us. Let's say you are collecting OSHA certificates for the workers, SST cards for the workers, or a certificate of insurance for your subcontractors. You can ask Bob to run a report for you, help you understand which documents are going to expire in the next 30 days, 60 days time frame, so that you can take preemptive action on those items. For example, let's say one of the job sites that we are working on right now, they have a very strict requirement of drug testing. So they came to us and they wanted to do a random drug test every few weeks. They want to select, let's say, 10% of their workforce and who are on site today and randomly select them for drug tests. The one option was that they can come to us, they can come to the platform, they can download the report for the workers who are on site today, and then use Excel or some other tool to have a random number generator and then select those workers. So we told them that, hey, why don't you use Bob for these things? Just simply go open Bob, like the whole task that you're making, like a 30-minute task, you can simply ask Bob, hey, can you select 10% of my workforce for randomized drug testing who are on site today? And Bob will just go through the workers who are on site today, provide you with the name of the worker, their company name, And then you can simply ask them, hey, add the details of the project managers, provide their phone numbers, and so on, so that you can contact these workers to come up for drug testing. Well, let's say I can download this data and it will give you the list of the workers who have been selected for the randomized drug testing. And
That is so
how you can rename those reports. You can definitely rename this as a drug test report. And you can just come up, like, let's say every 3 weeks or whatever schedule is, and say that, can you select 10 workers today?
Yeah, this is going to be huge for compliance. So apart from these really cool features along productivity, safety, and compliance, we've had a lot of customers also look into using this for deeper analytics and creating all different kinds of automated report, from prevailing wage reports to daily reports to fatigue reports, right? So where does this go towards in phase 2, Jay? Like, are we looking at Bob replacing half the super works? Where are we going towards with the phase 2 of Bob?
Yeah, so our idea with Bob is that we want to streamline a lot of work that the super does on site. I think like super's job should be focused on managing the job site rather than doing these spreadsheet reports. So we want to help the super in their day-to-day work to help generate these reports quicker and faster. We are going to like a next phase. First thing would be that we will define, like we're working with a few customers to define a certain report templates that they regularly want. Like let's say a prevailing wage report for some of our housing job sites, or a compliance report for some of our customers, or even a daily report that you want to generate on a job site about the number of workers, which locations they were working on, how much work was accomplished, that you have to do daily. These will be certain reports. Like the first phase will include reports that will be CSV based, like spreadsheet based. You can do a prevailing wage report and it'll give you all the columns. You just need to fill out the parts that regarding the wage rates and everything. If you have not recorded that data with us, if you have recorded, then that will also come out pre-filled. Like I can give you a glimpse on the daily report part, what we are building. So actually, yeah, for today, like I simply went to Bob and asked, you need to generate a daily report for today. So it will give you a very price data, a summary format of what your project name is, whether at the job site today, what's the project location, which work was completed based on the schedule that you have uploaded, and if you have marked any task that has been completed, how many workers were there, the breakdown of the workers, trade-wise, carpenters, electrician, laborers, journeyman, apprentice, and so on. And any safety and compliance related things, like let's say you had a near miss alert on some floor, or you had an SOS alert on floor 1, or we are going to say integrate with Procore or other tools where you record your safety observations, so you can also get a summarized report of that. Like let's say there was inspection on first floor regarding framing, or fire inspection, or there is a PPE compliance and all workers were compliant, and those kind of things. So you can get a summarized view. You can download this report in a document format, preview it, so that you will also have an option of editing this. And it will also include the list of the workers who were on site today, their sign-in time, sign-out time, number of hours they were on site, what was their location of sign-in, what was their location of sign-outs. We also have a worker timesheet as an attachment to this.
Yeah, so automating daily reports, that's a big goal. And like I know that we already have majority of the data points either collected through Kwant or through our partner integrations. And even the PPE compliance, we now have a facial recognition system and cameras on site. We can potentially use that to recognize PPE compliance actually. And we know that every construction site in the US or even globally requires you to have a daily report legally, to have it on file for compliance, for safety, even for project management. So this is a tool that can help to automate those reports that can save a huge amount of times to super and foremen every day. We are so excited about rolling this out. And this gives you a customizable, editable report. So if you want to edit a few stuff and put your flavor to it, they can always add that, and this can be shared with the boss to impress them. So this is amazing. I'm very, very excited about this, Shay. What else is coming up soon?
Like our idea, on building upon this is that right now, how you're able to download a CSV report spreadsheets for the questions that you're asking. Eventually, you will also be able to visualize that data on Bob directly, and Bob will give you a summary view of what you were asking, and also give you the attachment. The same attachment will still be there if you want your data in a spreadsheet format, if you want to circulate it. So like, let's say how we were talking about the reports, you can simply ask and create a fatigue report. I want to create a worker fatigue report for last week. So Bob will give you, specify the date, what date range you are talking about, so that you can customize the date range. We'll give you like a summary that 12 workers have crossed the fatigue threshold. We'll also tell you what was the defined threshold in your project. Like, let's say you had 6 continuous work days with more than 50 work hours at the job site. You can refer at the attached graph. How many workers crossed the fatigue threshold? Like on Friday, you had around 18 workers who crossed the fatigue threshold. And you can download it as a spreadsheet. You can preview that data. So it comes as an attachment and you can take an action on it. Similarly, like you can use Bob to then further talk to these workers or talk to the project managers associated to the companies which these workers belong to.
Yeah, this is huge, because this is such an easy way to get these amazing insights that it's going to save a lot of time to our users and help them to impress the owners or help them to impress their project management team with these amazingly beautifully generated reports in minutes. So this is very exciting. I know that this was one of the questions that one of the webinar attendees had asked about, like, being able to generate graphs and analytics using Bob. And I'm glad that you were able to share that, Jay. This is very exciting. So as a next step, right, what we are doing is we are taking in just a handful of customers. There's a lot of demand for this. We've had several customers of ours asking us access to this. A few of them already have access to it, and we've been working together with them for getting up to here. And if you are interested in using and learning more about Bob, please reach out to us at sales@Kwant.ai, and our team will be able to work with you to onboard you into this project, into this product. So we're still keeping it very tight and exclusive so that you can get a really curated experience of using Bob. And it's going to be really, really powerful for the industry to make the use of AI assistant that now is prevalent across all industries and construction industry, just waiting for this. So that is the end of our webinar. Thank you everybody for attending, and we hope to get more feedback from you. Feel free to reach out to us, and have a great Labor Day weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.